morning, students. Dear students, we are in the previous classes. We are all discussed something about Greek, Roman, and American civilizations. Under that, we are very familiar with Greek civilization and Roman civilization, and their art and architecture, literature, philosophy, and science, and more contributions about their contributions we have discussed under yesterday's classes. After the completion of those aspects, today we are going to discussing something about the American civilizations. The American civilizations. American civilizations. Dear students, Maya, Aztec and Inca are the ancient Columbian civilizations of America. Maya, Aztec, Maya, Aztec and Inca are the ancient Columbian civilizations. Are the ancient Columbian civilizations of America. And they represent the culture of the Indian origins of America. The countries of medieval Europe discovered new continents in their attempts to find a new sea route to India. A new sea route to India. America and Australia, thus discovered, were misunderstood as India, and their inhabitants were called Indians. Thus, the aborigines of America and Australia came to be called as Indians. In later history, the familiar countries came to be known as the Old World, and the newly discovered continents has to be distinct and special, like the civilization of the Old World, like the Egyptian, the Mesopotamian, and the Chinese civilizations. We can see states, kingdoms, amazing monuments, cities, and architectural things, metallurgy, and the practice of writing in the civilizations of the New World too. So the nomadic people of this area settled around 1500 BCE. 1500 BCE they are beginning to settle down. Around 1500 BCE. So later on they grew maize, cereals, fruits, pepper and cotton. They grew maize. Pepper, cotton, cereals. See, these are all the several crops they had grown. And the early villagers knew how to weave The beginning of construction of pyramids and commemorative stone idols in the period between 1200 BC and 900 BC. It brought new changes in the hitherto simple lives of these people. These changes were first noticed in coastal Mexico. The commemorative idols depict leaders and kings. Depicts leaders and kings. These are called Olmec. The evidences and the excavations found here reveal a centralized society with a hierarchical system. Gradually, vast kingdoms, capital cities and villages sprung up around this area. Even here the Olmec style of art was made use of. Olmec style of art. Olmec style of art. They have to use Olmec style of art. Olmec style of art. They have to start it. And another thing that cultural boundaries were drawn for first time and unity developed among the people therein. After 500 BCE, the Olmec conferred style led to separate local styles and regional styles of sculptures. These are the Maya, Aztec and Inca civilization. These are Maya, Aztec and Inca civilizations. So now we are going to know something about the civilization called Maya. Maya civilizations. Maya civilizations. See, the American Indian aborigines of Yucatan area of Mexico. Yucatan area. Yucatan. Y-U-C-U-T-A-N. C-U-T-A-N. Yucatan area of Mexico. Yucatan area of Mexico are called the Mayans. Are called the Mayans. Who belongs to American Indian aborigines of Yucatan area of Mexico. They are called Mayans. Their language is called Yucatan. This is the language of Mayans. Language of Mayans. The language is Yucatan. Physically, the Mayans were short. Physically, they were short. Physically short. Mayans were very short. And brown complexion. Brown complexion. Brown complexion. And long haired. Long haired. ancient American Indians. The rites of cities built of stone have been obtained in Yucatan of Mexico, Guatemala, and Andros. This civilization rose to its cultural height around 1700 years ago. It rose up 1700 years ago. So when that time we observed that the Mayan civilization in Mexico of America. And their earliest cities are built around 320 CE. 320 CE. We see the dissolution of Mayan culture with the attack of Spain from 1527 to 1546 CE. So this is several introductional aspects of Mayan civilization. They were American Indian aborigines of Yucatan area of Mexico. They are called the Mayans. Yucatec was a language used by Mayans. They are looks physically short and brown complexion, long and round-headed people. This civilization started for 1700 years back, and their cities built around 320 CE. 320 CE. See, these are all the several aspects of Mayan civilizations. And the leadership of Corders, a few descendants of Mayan Indians, were survived these attacks, can be seen even today in the northern areas of Yucatan of Guatemala. So this is called several introductional aspects of Mayan civilization. Now we are going to know something about the life of the Mayans. The life of the Mayans. The life of the Mayans. See, the settlements of the Mayans. The settlements of the Mayas included huge ceremonial centers. These have been called cities, but they were not inhabited by people. There are areas were utilized for regional ceremonies, markets, courts, and central administration centers. People lived in villages around these areas except during the period of markets and religious celebrations. These named Tikal pyramids, palaces, and courtyards have been found that around stretching 1 square mile. In all the ceremonial centers and on their side, either side of the country yard, there used to be pyramids. Beneath them were buildings with many rooms. In front of these, there used to be mammoth stone pillars, of while a few were plain pillars. Usually depictions of gods, priests, and important leaders of administration and hieroglyphic writing would be carved on these pillars. Such stone figures are called stelae. The largest amount of temples on the top of the pyramids Such pyramids, approximately 35 feet high and 65 tons of weight. These temples on top of the pyramids. On top of the pyramids. The people used to assemble country acts and watch the rituals held in front of the temple. In front of the temple. And about 9th century, people adorned these ceremonial centers. The next 6 centuries, these areas did not enjoy much of an important. See, the ordinary Mayas lived in huts on the outskirts of ceremonial centers. There used to be maize fields all around farmers grew maize and yam among others. The labor of innumerable peasants were utilized here to construct huge structures. The noteworthy intellectual achievements of Mayas can be seen in their writing, the called hieroglyphics, astronomy, and their use calendar. Their hieroglyphic writing is based on ideographic system and sounds. There are around 850 characters. The meaning for these are not known. These hieroglyphic texts have been carved on the walls and in books. All except 3 books were destroyed destroyed during the conquest. One of these, the Dresden Codex, was used to predict their eclipses. There is no evidence of the use of metal among the Mayas. Even early 16th century, copper and gold were used rarely. They used tools made up of stones, bones and wood. Till the 9th century, they were not aware of the use of bow and arrow. The gods pertaining to the maize crops were the presiding deities of the Mayas. They treated rain, soil, wind, sun, moon, and the maize itself as their gods. Mayans are considered rain, soil, wind, and sun, moon, and the maize itself as their god. Throughout their history, the Mayas practiced human sacrifice on a limited scale. Throughout the history, Mayans are used human sacrifice on a limited scale. This is what we call the life of Mayans. This is what we call the life of Mayans. See, dear students, after the completion of Mayans, the life of Mayans, now we move to another American sub-civilization called the Aztecs. The Aztecs. The Aztecs. This is another civilization concept of the American civilizations. They were called Aztecs. See, Texcoco is a lake in Mexico. Texcoco. Texcoco. Lake in Mexico. Texcoco Lake in Mexico. The Aztecs built their city on an island in this lake. They built their civilization on an island. Island of Texcoco. Built their civilization on an island of Texcoco. They are called Tenoch. They are called Tenoch. They are called Tenoch. They are called Tenochos. Tenochos. And a name derived from their legendary ancestor Tenoch. Their city was called Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan. The stone rising in the water. It means the stone rising inside the water. And the city has also been called Mexico. The city has also been called Mexico. And its inhabitants were also known by the same name. Their language was Noha. Their language was Noha. Noha language. Their language was Noha. And even today, there are people who speak Noha language in Mexico. So, bearing in Incas of Peru, there has been no one in the world who has had an empire like the Aztecs. It is the incredible story of a small wandering tribe that built and ruled an empire within the span of only 1 century. Within the span of only 1 century. But its fall was equally rapid. Its rapid rise and fall have been recorded in its oral literature, has been translated by the Spanish historians and social scientists. These have been called as the Indian Codex. When the Spanish army entered the Mexican Valley in 1519 CE, they spotted the beautiful city on the island in the lake. That city was Tenochtitlan, the capital of the Aztecs, which had grown to symbolize their wealth and power. As the Spanish stepped into the city, they saw their wealth and power. As the Spanish stepped into the city, they saw the wide roads. One of them led to the palace, the second led to the ornate temple, and the third led to the pyramids. All these came under the Spanish conquest. The Aztecs were basically nomadic people. It is said that they came to Mexico around the 13th century. They fought many times with a few tribes here and also served under them. Thus they imbibed the culture of the Toltecs, Mayas and Choctaws. In the 14th century, they took shelter on an island in a lake in Mexico and built the city of Tenochtitlan. Then they look new areas under their control and established the empire. Even today, there are Indians in Mexico who are the descendants of Aztecs. Even today, there are Indians in Mexico who are the descendants of Aztecs. Who are the descendants of Aztecs even today in Mexico. Many of the Indians we were seen in Mexico who were Indians. And the best of architectural and sculptural representations found on their buildings. Huge temples, and were decorated with carvings. They have recorded historical and religious events using symbols and numbers through hieroglyphic writings. They had to learn to use of calendar from the Mayas. Their almanac gave the dates and festivals, also the list of gods influencing events periodically, and trade connected Tenochtitlan with far-off places of the empire. Soldiers gave protection to the traders since there were no animals carry loads. Manual laborers were employed as beasts of burden. Carry them. They used boats to sail in the canals while carry them. They used boats to sail in the channels, while bringing harvest from nearby farms. Their main crops were pulses, grains and pepper, fruit juices, tomato, tobacco and cotton, etc. Trade was carried on by barter system. The small island, dear students, please observe this. The small island around the island city had been converted to agricultural land. These were called chinampas. The farmers lived in huts on the island. The officials used to live in houses built on burnt bricks. People were trained in the art of war and used separate bow and arrows. The prisoners captured during war would not be kept in prison to be later sacrificed during rituals. Despite being horrified by these Aztec cities, ruthlessly destroyed the temples, uprooted the old faiths. Thus the glorious days of the Aztecs went their last days. The Aztecs were worshippers of nature. They tried to please God in many ways. One of them was human sacrifice. As the empire grew, they sacrificed more and more human beings to please the gods. It is believed that when the temple pyramid of Tenochtitlan, dedicated around 20,000 prisoners were sacrificed, the Spanish pyramids advanced under the leadership of Hernando Cortés in 1517 CE to have caused its cultural defeat too. They have caused cultural defeated too. See, these are all the several aspects of the Aztecs. And the last one is Mayans. The, sorry, the Inca. The Incas. So the Incas are another empire which flourished under the American civilization in 15th and 16th century, spread in the areas of America called Peru, Ecuador, Chile and Argentina, and another places existed before the Incas. Inca Empire continued the old Colombian since the Inca did not know writing. Not much is now early life. They came and settled in the Peruvian Cuyaco Valley around the 11th century and gradually occupied the whole valley. Information about their lives till the 15th century in Valley. Tupac was a prominent leader of the Incas. Tupac was the prominent leader. Tupac was the prominent leader of Incas, and he had fought the earlier tribe of Chimus and overpowered them. Over a period of time, his descendants worked to establish an empire. But in 1532, a Spanish army of only 200 men defeated the Incas. It murdered the Inca soldiers in a gruesome manner and took over the kingdom. The talent of the Incas can be seen more in their organizational ability than in their architect's interests. Their empire had been divided into 4 provinces. Chiefs looked after the provinces. Above them was the king. Here, officials and priests can be seen to be powerful classes in the society. The land was divided into 3 parts. One part was reserved for families. The other 2 parts were meant for sun god and the king respectively. The facilities of granaries was made throughout the kingdom. At the time of calamities, the food grains stored in these granaries and the cloth would be provided in the people. Every year, inspectors would visit the villages to enumerate people in every village and also to keep an account of food and animals. See, dear students, majority of these people were farmers. Some were soldiers and some others were artisans. So these are all the several aspects of the Inca civilization of America. The Inca civilization of America. So later on, systematic planning was possible due to good communication facilities. The state had many narrow roads and 2 main roads. People were appointed to stand on the roads for passing on information speedily. The greatest contribution of the Inca can be seen in their huge stone buildings. Their architecture spread throughout their empire. Their most important buildings are in Peru. Many places and temples, many palaces and temples have been found here. The fort built by Spec is also here. The palace on the island in Lake Titicaca and the Moon Temple are two famous buildings on the islands. So, this is what we call the American civilizational aspects. Okay, dear students, this is what we call the Inca civilizations. Okay, now the unit is complete here and remaining things will be discussed on next class. Okay, dear students, today we are going to learn about the American civilization. Okay, totally the unit was completed. It is completed. The new lesson will be started on next class. Okay, thank you very much.